Okay. Here's something else that I think is interesting, also kind of frightening. I don't know if I should like read the article to you or I'm just going to like summarize what happened and I'll put the article in the description box and you can read it for yourself. Um so there's this small town in France called Crepol, and basically it's a town, yeah, it's a small town in France. There's like 500 people in this town, and a group of basically like 16 um North African immigrants who are living, I think they're living in France, but they don't live in this particular town. So they're coming from another town, but they decide to target this town and they come and they stab like a whole so so the town hosted a party for like the youth. So the youth are having this party, and all of a sudden this group of 16 North African, they're also, let's be specific, so North African teens are basically Arab teens, they're Muslim teens. People always like to equate Africans, and I'm going to be very specific. I think I'm going to make another video about this, kind of differing the racial, ethnic, and religious differences between the groups in Africa. Like Ethiopian, East African, the primary religion is actually Christian. Christianity is the primary religion in Ethiopia. Other countries in East Africa are like Sudan, Eritrea. There's actually other stuff going on here. There's like I guess there's like a group. It's kind of like Hamas that's terrorizing like this the Sudanese people right now, which is a whole issue. Anyway, so Somalia, that would be like another country in the Horn of East Africa. Anyway, but North Africa, obviously, it's north. So other countries that are in North Africa, like Tunisia, Jordan, I think Iran. What are there's a lot. We could put a map, but the primary religion there is like it's Islamic, Muslim, and we know those people as being Arabic. They speak Arabic. They're Arab. Anyway, so this group of teens, it sounds like it was 16 of them. They come in and they just start stabbing the youth there. One of the youth dies, and I guess there were like 15 other youth who were injured. And now people of France are like questioning immigration. The right conservative groups are basically saying we need to have more restrictions on immigration, and I would definitely say yes, this is true. But I would also say there's a bigger cultural problem. Some people might call it like assimilation. I don't know if I would. I think the bigger issue here is representation, and let me explain this in a little bit more depth. So like we don't actually have any, actually not at all, do we have any any sort of representation of like Arab Americans who are like hyper visible Arab Americans who, or even Europeans, Arab Europeans who are just like any musicians, artists, the politicians, and anything at all? Like, no. I know I feel like maybe some of them go into medicine, that is, or they do other things, like they're overrepresented maybe in like gig economy jobs. But obviously they do other things in society, but like I don't ever see them. Do you? Like, we can say whatever we want about like black Americans or even Africans, but we see them. We have Ilhan Omar, right? Now we have Sabrina Elma. She's like Somalian. I think Ilhan Omar is Sudanese. We have Michelle Obama, Black American. We have a variety of like Black American actresses. Jada Pinkett, she's writing whole books about like her American experience. Like, where are all of the Arab American experiences? I'm sure they're probably there. I'm saying I don't see them. I don't really know. What I do know is that, like, as a person who follows the news in Ethiopia, and what's happening with Ethiopian people. I do know that a whole bunch of like Arab people just murdered a whole bunch of Ethiopian people because they were trying to like pass through, because Ethiopia is one of the places that's dealing with like climate migration and famine. Like it's like some of it is like a lot of desert land. Also, there's just not like the agricultural economy is just not doing well, so people are like literally starving. So they were trying to walk through to get to probably like Europe, and a whole bunch of Arabs just shot them dead, and it was all over like Democracy Now, and they went on this like raping spree where they were like raping all the women. And then we see obviously like the Hamas terrorists who just like came in and killed a whole bunch of Jewish people, and it was all of it together. I think that we are missing the point of like this kind of extremely marginalized group of Arabs who, some of them are extremists. Like we know what happened with 9/11. And like I'm not saying that there's not going to be peace with Middle Easterners in the West, but I am saying that there is kind of like a very long history of intolerance for many groups. Like they are intolerant to a lot of groups. A lot of them include like they are definitely intolerant of black people. That's for sure. Now they're also intolerant of Jewish people. Extreme Muslims are also intolerant of Christians. Many of them are intolerant of Europeans now, as we see in this particular case. It sounds like these are kids too. That's nuts. I guess one of the kids was on TikTok, and so his like they'd like linked his TikTok rant. He was like planning to like flee or something to North Africa after he did this. Like to me, all of it is like very confusing. Like what would be the purpose of it? Like I always ask myself, like, what the fuck is the purpose? Like I feel like for a very long time, like black Americans were trying to like assimilate because like they were trying to have like economically have things in this country because they're like here in the country, and they were like trying to like live. You need like money and opportunity, jobs, infrastructure, grocery stores, things like that to like live. So that's what black Americans are fighting for. But like these people immigrated here. That's not even here. This happened in France. And I wonder like if they don't like it, like why don't they go back? It sounds like they probably still have culture, family, homes there. Nobody asked them to come to France. It's very strange for me to side with like Europeans in this case, but like I said, I think that homogeny is the solution, and this just seems strange as fuck. Like, what? Like, why? It's okay if you're, I mean, it's not okay. It's kind of fucked up. But like, if you are a person who's like anti the West or something, and like anti America or anti Europe, you could just not live there. Like, living there doesn't have to be you can like plan and strategize to leave. There's lots of people who've done that, and they've successfully done that. And that is like it's like a very plausible and well documented path toward hopefully whatever your own personal happiness is. But nobody's going to be happy if you like go around like murdering people. That's not going to, like, you're probably not going to be happy by doing that. Obviously, the families of the people that you murdered are not going to be happy if you do that. No happiness is going to come from that. It's the same thing. It's kind of, this is very much so along the lines of like what I was saying about the Nashville shooter, with the manifesto. Like, what was she trying to prove, and who was she trying to prove it to? Like, who learned a lesson here? Who? Like, if she was actually trying to make some change for herself, which like, start with yourself. If you personally are sitting around and you're like, I don't like my circumstances, I don't like my location, whatever it is that you personally don't like, well, okay, you personally go fix it then. You go fix it for you, to make it better for you. Start there. Make it better for yourself. Then after it's better for yourself, then you can start thinking about other people. But it's never going to be better for yourself if you're like shooting up the other people who like live in the place that you live. All of it's fucking strange. Like, that was weird. And I don't know. That's fucking weird.